Hello, 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 hello. Hi everyone. Today I'm gonna talk about my research paper 4 months ago. 1 week ago I finished. After 4 months is 4 months is working, of hard working. Uh, Hi everyone, I am Marwan Jijakli. I am an AI student at Jeddah International College. 4 months ago, I did a research paper about AI-driven solutions for smart cities, focusing in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, especially in Neom and Riyadh. Today, we will talk about the research paper. It's about introduction, objectives, and related works part, and the challenges in Neom and Riyadh. And the most important part is the roadmap. In the roadmap, we did a plan for the challenges and the solutions. And at the end, we have the conclusion. At the introduction, we will talk about the smart city. What is the smart city? Smart cities are leverage technology and data for improving life in cities. All services provide like transportation, energy, and public safety are more effective and efficient, which is in turn makes the cities smart and livable. So the smart cities make the life easier for the people and easier for the environment to be livable. The objective of this research, explore AI-based solutions that improve the city, especially in Neom and Riyadh. Identify the major problem of Saudi smart cities, including data privacy, sensibility, technological readiness, and urbanization problems. Analyze the similarities and differences between Neom and Riyadh, as we said. Provide a framework of the effective development of AI-driven smart cities solutions. The paper outlines a roadmap featuring AI-enabled solutions for both Neom and Riyadh, and this is the most important part of the research. The related work part, it's in the paper 6, we highlighted the importance of taking the community input into consideration, and at the same time, ensuring the transparency of the decision-making process. Also in paper 12, we identified a number of issues for successful implementation of smart technologies, including funding constraints, technological adoption, and stakeholder collaboration. Also, at paper 8, we discussed the real need for effective engagement of community where citizens should be actively involved. If you want to convert a regular city to a smart cities, we will have some challenges. These challenges we face is environmental, logistical, financial, technological, urbanization, privacy. The privacy is an important challenge because it's a high challenge. Why? Because the most important thing in a smart city is the data. So we will collect a data from the people, from the environment. So we need to be secure and private. We need to make it the privacy is higher. In Neom and Riyadh cities, we have main challenges and constraints. We have environmental constraints. For example, in Neom and Riyadh, in Neom, we have extreme temperatures and water scarcity. In Riyadh, we have is already an established city with ongoing constraints on renewable energy and waste control. You can read the...
I can if you want, but I don't know. I'm not kind of...
Anyone have a question?
You know, my French skills, so... Okay.
If you want more deeper information, you can read the paper and read the another examples. We have AI-driven solutions for Neom and Riyadh. These are the solutions we focused on them. We focused on sustainability goals, technological innovation, citizen-centric design, and smart transportation, smart healthcare. All these are solutions for smart cities. Here is comparison between NEOM and Riyadh for the solutions. For example, in technological innovation in NEOM, we have AI for autonomous mobility, urban planning, and governance as feature cities model in paper 14. In Riyadh, IoT, information of things, enable traffic management systems, reduce congestion, especially during peak hours, improving transportation efficiency. In paper 16. The most important part in the research, the roadmap toward AI, toward efficient and reductive AI-based smart cities development. We have sustainability. We focused on sustainability, governance and policies, infrastructure, engagement, workforce development, and data management and cybersecurity. For more details, we provided in the research. At the end of this research, or the outcomes of this research is we provide these solutions, scalable and adaptable smart cities model, enable efficient energy solutions, real-time detection and decision-making, secure data exchange all collection, predictive energy management, on-time emergency response. All these are outcomes of our research. In conclusion, AI is a fundamental driver in the transformation of smart cities in Saudi Arabia. Smart cities like NEOM and Riyadh showcase different challenges and opportunities requiring tolerant AI-based solutions. Also, AI-driven infrastructure enhances urban efficiency, sustainability, and citizen engagement. For the full paper, you can contact me on also here we have the references, but these are not all the references. And at the paper, we have over 20 references. For the full paper, you can contact me on LinkedIn or on my email. Thank you for your attention and see you inshallah in more researches inshallah. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Faris, we can start. You can share your presentation.
Yes, sure. I will do that now. Can you see the presentation now?
Yes, you can start.
All right. Good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Faris Al-Malki. I'm presenting Dr. Iman Al Khalifa, who present this paper titled Metaverse Design, Trends Shaping the Smart Cities Throughout the Sentiments and Influencer Dynamics. So what we are talking about here is the metaverse technology, which is one of the pillars of the fourth industrial revolution, and one of the trends actually at the moment that play a very smart role actually in terms of influencing the youth and people who use this kind of technology. So we all know the impact and the effects of this kind of technology, metaverse, AR, virtual reality, in creative design. So we're talking about design smart cities, and also we can get the user experience, as we call it, UX, and have a very good impact and thought about this kind of technology. Smart cities is very important part in our country here in Saudi Arabia, where many cities like Riyadh, like also Mecca and the Medina, and others, of course, try their best actually to model these kind of cities using metaverse and VR, AR for various reasons. For example, tourism. So people who visit Saudi Arabia, they would like to know more about this kind of cities. They would like to see models in virtual reality just to save time and present that. What we have done in terms of research questions, we have three main questions in this work, which play a very important part to find the gap, and then we can contribute towards this work. So what we have done here is what are the dominant themes associated with metaverse design? And we have a very good example, as we call it X, or previously Twitter. How does user sentiments towards the metaverse design evolve? And what's the impact or the influence of these sentiments, and how we can present that in smart cities scenarios, and which hashtags or keywords we can see that associated with users to have more engagement and to connect that with these sentiments. Through these questions, we can design our model, and then we reach to initial, I could call it initial prediction results, as we will see inshallah in this presentation. So this is our model. What we have done here is the proposed methodology that starts, as we all know, data collection, sentiment analysis. Of course, this is very important part to have a very good thought about this sentiments and how we can analyze that, know the influencers who are going to play important parts in terms of the integration model. And then we classify that using topic modeling, and then we can visualize the data, and then we can repeat that as action research, so we can have an improvement based on that. In this part, we added the mathematical equations that present the model of sentiments, and then we can represent that by the number of tweets, how many score we can give for each one, either positive or negative. And then we can know the influencer that has various weights. Each one of the follower has a weight based on friends, number of favorites, and number of tweets that give us the impact for each factor. Of course, here we model the hashtag engagement. So we know the mathematical model of that. So we can calculate that based on the number of tweets. And then we can know the number of tweets that contain hashtag that's related to metaverse. And then finally, in equation 4, we measure the relationship between influencer impact and the sentiment of each generation of the that we can produce for our model. Then we can know the final component of the proposed model, which can rely on the metaverse design. And then they can give us a result of the topic sentiment score for each one. Then we can know the number of tweets that related to the topic. Based on that, the experiment results, initial results, I would call it, the most frequent hashtag in metaverse tweets that gave us very good thought about the this kind of technology, where it's evolved and where it can be used for various applications. That's the figure 1. Figure 2, it shows the impact, which is very important part to know the impact of a number of user favorite. We can see it can reach up to 300,000 impact for metaverse sentiment. To verify the results, we have to know the positive and negative and natural sentiments. So we can see it has good variation and good distribution for each one. And the influence for each followers, we have 3 scenarios: 100 followers up to 50,000 followers. So we can get the sentiment category based on that, and we can discuss that based on our model. The results actually reflect the hashtags, which include NFT, metaverse design, virtual reality, and immersive design. All of these hashtags give us very good thought about, and the augmented reality give us a potential actually to see the hashtag for each score. We can see the NFT and the metaverse give the higher score. Either it can be a positive or negative. I participated minorly actually with this work with Dr. Iman, and she had most of the work. I did part of the experiments in terms of the mathematical model, which is the main part of this work. You know, as we all know, metaverse is one of the biggest trend, and that's shaping the digital future. Saudi Arabia, as we speak now, they host LEAP, and I'm now in Riyadh actually to attend LEAP. That's why I couldn't attend either me or Dr. Iman the conference. So we are very close to see actually various applications and model using metaverse. To conclude here, the influence of metaverse can give us, you know, a good understanding and design of hashtags, and then we can check these hashtags to know the drive engagement, what drive those users. Using sentiments analysis actually and influence metrics and topic modeling help us actually to reduce a good understanding of this kind of technology, including also AI model. Influencers can shape the narrative of this, and hashtag also can help us to produce more models or in terms of metaverse design, various themes, and also can help us to get more real-time user response across more social media platform. In this work, we focus on X. Of course, this is just for the beginning. We try to include actually various applications, social media applications and platforms like, but here in Saudi Arabia, the Twitter or X get more official responses, while various social media, it might use various words, but we'll try to include that in the future work as well. For various, if you have any question, you may also send your questions to Dr. Iman Khalifa for any further question and inquiries. Thank you all for that.
Thank you, Dr. Faris. Can you ask Dr. Faris about any questions? Can you? Okay. Thank you, Doctor. If we have a question, must be send it to Dr. Iman, okay?
Yes, sure, yeah.
Yeah, not now.
If the audience have any question, they may send it, or they can ask if they have one.
Yes, I have a good question about ambiguity. Ambiguity in all data set may be suffered from ambiguity as a natural language data set.
That's true. Actually, we might think about that, and then we can clarify that data set. So we might have better result if we do that. We might think about that, and I may convey that to Dr. Iman, of course.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. Good work. شكرا.
Thank you. شكرا.
Okay, the next one, Dr. Shifam Christoph, a framework for overcoming data accessibility challenges in urban microgrids for smart city.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And is my screen visible?
Yes, yes, disappeared. Yes, it appears, yes.
Okay, perfect. So, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining in. My name is Shivam, and on behalf of my co-authors, I am hereby presenting our paper, a framework for overcoming data accessibility challenges in urban microgrids for smart cities. My co-authors are Christoph Schoffer, Wieland Schiwinger, Georg Hartner, Mark Kurz, and Oliver Huidel. I'm working with University of Applied Sciences of Upper Austria in Europe, and our work is co-funded by the European Union under the project EDDI. Diving into the microgrids first, so talking about the introduction to the grid-connected microgrids. A microgrid is a smaller grid with some prosumers, consumers, some generation units, some storage systems, all being balanced just like a grid, and connecting to the grid for imports and exports during the time of surplus and deficit. A microgrid is a smaller grid with specific electricity or electrical and geographical boundaries. So microgrid is an integral part of the smart cities since it helps in integrating diverse DER, distributed energy resources, for example, solar PV on rooftop solar PV and so on. Then it also helps in enabling local exchanges of energy between the users or the peers, so P2P energy trading and such. Then it further reduces the dependence on the utility grid and the associated congestions on the grid, especially in the context of smart cities. And then it helps in democratization of energy, which is an integral part of the smart cities. Talking about many benefits of microgrids, there are few common barriers that hinder in the establishment and management of microgrids, and we have identified such barriers in our paper, and we propose a novel IT solution to address these challenges. While talking about the challenges, before that, we talk about the motivation. How we landed upon this study is a case study where we considered a wind farm in central France. The status quo ante consists of 10 wind turbines of 2.5 megawatt peaks and 8 wind turbines of 3 megawatt peaks, leading to a total of 49 megawatt peaks of installed capacity. We did a simulation study for considering 4 different scenarios to identify the importance of smart grids in context of community microgrids for smart cities. The first scenario we considered was to enable the community microgrid in a smart way to connect with the existing wind turbines of 49 megawatt peak, which I just discussed. The second scenario investigated the addition of a BESS, battery energy storage system, on the DC hub, and where the battery can obviously store the surplus energy and supply energy during the times of deficit. The third scenario investigated the cogeneration of wind turbines and PV systems together to support the load of the microgrid. Always the surplus is to be fed into the utility grid, or in the times of deficit, it can be imported from the utility grids. The fourth scenario investigated beyond the cogeneration, it investigated additionally the storage systems as well. All the scenarios led to an interesting aspect that in most of the scenarios, or in all 4 scenarios, the grid purchase was reduced by more than 77 or 78%. And that leads to a higher renewable penetration on the microgrid itself. But when we while doing this study, we identified different challenges. But before going into the microgrid itself, when we say the integral part of the microgrid is the consumer and the prosumer, there are some in-home assets which have to be managed or communicated with. For example, the smart meters, rooftop PV, solar panels, uh, home storage systems, electric vehicles, variable loads, and some other aspects. Then there are existing big generation units, for example, the wind farm or a solar utility scale solar farm. These are the renewable energy sources that are existing also in connection to the microgrid. And the central part is the microgrid controller, which in real time also enables the interaction between these all components to balance the demand and supply on the grid, but also in the deployment phase and the planning phase, it manages or it anticipates how the microgrid could function. While communicating, we identified there are 6 major data challenges. The first one is the lack of availability of historical data. So the problem is when we talk about the historical data, usually there is not a lot of data which is available from the users. And historical data plays a pivotal role in defining business models with clarity and precision. And a comprehensive multi-year sensitivity analysis is required usually for microgrids on verified historical data. And if this is done, then it instills a strong sense of confidence amongst the investors, because then they see what was the performance, or what could have been the performance based on the verified historical data. The second challenge is the lack of consumption and production profiles. So it's not just about the absolute norms, but it's also the pattern of the consumption and production. And these serves as crucial inputs for estimating the day ahead demands and identifying the specific demand side management services. For example, peak shaving, valley filling, and so on, that may be required to optimize the microgrid. The third challenge we identified is the lack of data for defining the service level agreements, SLAs. So often users in smart cities specifically have multiple value propositions beyond the unit price of the electricity itself. Per se, for example, it could be the power quality curve or the renewable share and so on. To verify the SLAs, additional data is required usually. For example, active power, reactive power, time of use, and all, and many more. During time of optimization or the operations of microgrids, optimizing and maintaining a balance between the consumption and generation is a must, especially in dynamic energy landscapes, for example, smart microgrids for smart cities. And this relies on the real-time data availability. The data real-time includes from not only from the smart meters of the users, but also the other in-home data assets. And the the data is crucial for maintaining the balance on the smart grid itself. Then the lack of rapid response to market signals mechanisms is the fifth challenge which we identified. Here, the most important part is because sometimes the additional value signals are to be sent from the distribution system operator or the microgrid controller to the users for telling them the required information about the price feeds and so on, based on which the users can make informed decisions about their consumption, their storage, and their generation. For example, if the price goes down, the users can increase the consumption, turn on their washing machines, and so on. Then lack of standardization is a bigger problem here, because in many regions, such as specifically in Europe, it is the right of the users to retrieve or share their historical data with any third party. But the problem is, when we try to achieve this in practicality, there are different member states or different countries within EU, for instance, have different set of data hubs, different data formats, standards, protocols, and consent mechanisms from the users. The significant heterogeneity in the interfaces of various physical layer assets, such as smart meters, also poses a considerable challenge when we talk about the real-time data access also. Based on all these challenges, we identified, we developed a platform to harmonize the data availability. When we talk initially about the users, the prosumers or consumers, they are lying in a particular region of, or for example, a country, which have a different permission administrator and a metadata administrator. So the permission administrator is the legal entity which allows or which records the permission from the users that they agree to share their data to any third party. The metadata administrator is the entity which is responsible for sharing the data. It could be a data hub through which they share, or there could be multiple data hubs of different distribution system operators in one country. For example, in Austria, there are more than 120 distribution system operators, and each one of them have their own data access. So each region ranging from R1 to Rn, these permission administrators and permission metadata administrator differ. And it's not so easy for an entity which wants to establish a microgrid to connect to each of those data hubs. So our proposed solution is where the entity can talk to the marketplace, which we also developed through a module that is Consent Console. Consent Console is the intelligent module which knows which type of permission administrator has to be contacted and talks to the permission administrator in the specified data format where the permission administrator can understand the request. The entity participating on the marketplace through Consent Console just gets the idea of how many users could be there who could benefit from the microgrid. Once the entity understands that there is a possible scope of identifying further, then they can register themselves as eligible party. An eligible party is the legal entity which can request officially the data from the Consent Console. The Consent Console talks to the interoperable communication layer where we developed a region connector for each region. So each region of all of Europe, we have developed a region connector for each country within Europe. Additionally, we have developed the region connectors for USA, UK, and Australia. The region connectors have the knowledge of communicating with the permission administrator and fetching the data from the metadata administrator based on the request. For real-time data access, we developed AIDA adapter. AIDA stands for Administrative Interface for In-Home Data Access. This is a technological specific adapter which is able to communicate with the in-home assets, for example, the EV, the electric vehicles, or the solar rooftop. Then we have a SCADA adapter, which is capable of communicating with big renewable energy sources, for example, a big power plant or a wind turbine power plant or a PV power plant. And all this is connected to the interoperable communication layer. Then we have a data streaming module, which fetches the data from the different data protocols, convert them into a common format that is known as Common Information Model. It's an IEC standard for Europe specifically, but it's not just for Europe, and now it's expanding throughout the world. So the IEC SIM standard is the standard which can where the data can be interoperable to the transmission system operators, distribution system operators within the smart city also. Based on the interoperable data, the microgrid controller can provide services, for example, aggregation, operation, demand side management, and other services. This way, we addressed all the challenges which we identified through our novel IT system. Thank you. If you have questions, please feel free to ask.
Yes, thank you, doctor. Thank you. Any question? I have one question about standardization of macrogrids. You mentioned there is no standardization for macrogrid, okay?
No, I mentioned that there is no standardization for fetching data from different DSOs or different regions, because
Yeah.
each region has a different standard they are following. It depends on the distribution system operator about their own standards which they would like to follow.
Yes, I think some standardization provided from IEEE organization.
Yes, Indeed, but the problem is because each DSO can follow their own standards, and there are many standards lying up there in the market. So therefore, it's the prerogative of the distribution system operator to apply their own standards. And when we say about the standards, it's not just the data standards, but also the standards who plays the role of metadata administrator. For example, in some countries, there are the distribution system operators playing the role of the metadata administrator, but in some countries, it's a unified data hub. For example, in Finland, it's the FinGrid, which only one, which is providing the metadata administrator. But in case of Austria, there are 120 130 DSOs providing the metadata administrator. So the standardization is not about only the data formats, which is also varying a lot because the data schemas are different. Usually the data schemas are also in the regional languages of the countries. So therefore, it's not standardized in a proper way.
Okay, it is clear. Okay, thank you, doctor. Thank you, Alf.
Thanks a lot.
شكرا. Okay, thank you, doctor.
Thank you.
السلام عليكم.
Okay, hello everyone. Hello everyone.
Hello.
My name is Shahda Sufyani. Today I'm going to present my paper, Zero Trust Architecture for Smart City Healthcare System, written by Dr. Ishaq, Prof. Mustafa Naufal, and me, Shahda Sufyani. First of all, smart healthcare systems are relying on IT, cloud services, and AI. Traditional security models are insufficient due involving cyber threats. Zero Trust Architecture ensure continuous security verification. The main objective is implementing ZTA in Smart City Healthcare System to enhance security. This paper introduced Zero Trust Architecture for Healthcare System, Smart Cities, addressing the security challenges posed by interconnect infrastructures. This paper explores the application of ZTA in healthcare system within smart cities, focusing on specific security requirement, technical challenges, and the implementation consideration of adapting ZTA of this context. By addressing real-time threat detection, device trust verification, and policy enforcement, the research aimed to present scalable adaptive security framework that ensure the protection of healthcare data and infrastructure. The paper provides background overview and examines related work on securing healthcare services, highlighting investment and existing approaches in this field. It's present proposed ZTA architecture for healthcare system in smart city. It's explored the key obstacles encountered during the deployment of ZTA framework, along with the corresponding strategies development by overcome them. It presents to design the experimental environment and the metrics used to evaluate the system performance. It presents also the findings from the experiment, including details analysis and the system effectiveness and performance. It summarized finally the key insight gained from the research and outlined potential future direction. So what is Zero Trust Architecture? The principle says never trust, always verify. The main key features is continuous verification of user and devices, strict access control policies based on context and risk assessment, real-time threat detection using AI models. The core component is identity access management, multi-factor authentication, microsegmentation, AI-driven anomaly detection. So what is microsegmentation? Divide network into isolated segments, each governed by its own access policies and security control. This strategy minimizes the impact of breaches by preventing the attackers from moving within the network. What is identity access management? Ensuring that every user and device is authenticated, and authorized based on their verified identity and the role within the organization, leveraging role-based and attribute-based access control. Multi-factor authentication means require user to present multiple forms of verification before access is granted. AI-driven anomaly detection, implement real-time monitoring using machine learning technique and detect anomalies across the network. So by looking at the related work, I have seen many papers, most important of them, 3 papers. They are focusing on healthcare, smart city healthcare, and they have some challenges addressed. For example, the first paper, insider threat and authorized access. The another one, legacy system and the integration between them. And the third one, seamless access across devices. The unique contribute for each demonstrate effectiveness of zero trust principles in clinical environment. The other one utilize microsegmentation to restrict movement within the network. And the another one integrated authentication access management with microsegmentation for protecting patient data in smart cities. So what is the problem? Healthcare systems are prime target for cyber attacks. Traditional security model is inadequate. Insider threat, data breaches, and unauthorized access risk need to robust security model to ensure trust verification at all levels. Proposed solution is ZTA framework adopt many layer security model that integrate security data access, device trust verification, and dynamic policy enforcement. This layer approach minimizes the attack surface. This paper proposed a zero trust architecture for healthcare system in smart cities, addressing the security challenges posed by interconnected infrastructure. The framework enforces continuous access validation through microsegmentation, identify and access management with multi-factor authentication and device trust verification, reducing vulnerabilities. AI-powered real-time monitoring and anomaly detection enhanced system ability to identify and mitigate threats and insider threats. So it's contained for multi-layer security, as you can see, data access layer, device verification layer, policy enforcement, and monitoring and response layer. For data access layer, that enforce identity-based access control to authenticate and authorize data requests. Device verification layer that ensure IoT and medical devices meet predefined security standard before network access is granted. Policy enforcement layer, which applies security policies based on user role, risk assessment, and device posture. Monitoring and response layer that utilize AI-driven tools to monitor network activity, detect anomalies, and trigger automated threat responses. So by looking at the component, identity and access management and multi-factor authentication provide robust security access control to verifying user identity and applying role-based permission. For example, role-based access, context-aware access, and time-based access. By looking to microsegmentation, divide the network into isolated zones to limit movement between these networks. Device trust verification, validate the security status of IoT devices before network access is granted. Real-time monitoring and AI-driven anomaly detection, of course, for monitoring network activity, identifying and mitigate suspicious behavior. For the challenges we face in the implementation, legacy system compatibility, the older system lacking modern security features, latency issue for the network, ensuring minimal delays in real-time access data, scalability expanding ZTA across multiple facilities, and regulatory compliance, which mean meeting industry security standard. Solution to challenge secure gateway practices for legacy system, edge computing and caching to minimize latency, modular deployment with Kubernetes for scalability, automated policy management. For the result and analysis, security improvement, incident response time reduced by 75% and detection accuracy improved by 11%. For the network performance, latency increased from 20 milliseconds to 28 milliseconds. Throughput decreased slightly from 750 to 720 requests per second. Resource usage, CPU usage increased by 13%, and memory usage increased by 15%. For conclusion, ZTA ensure healthcare cybersecurity, AI-driven monitoring ensure that threat detection, slight trade-off in the performance, overweight by security benefit, of course. For the future network, we recommend optimizing ZTA protocols for better performance, integration of quantum safe cryptography for secure the communication between the networks, and expanding AI-driven threat detection capabilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shah. Any question for the online audience? Online audience. Do you have online audience? Do you have any questions? Okay, thank you, Dr. Shah. Good job. Okay, shukran.